Good day everyone. Now we're going to talk about the Pareto's principle. So, nung nakaraan ang ating pinag-usapan is tungkol sa Lean Six Sigma, which is isang process din sa isang business kung saan mas mapapadali mas magiging organized yung paggawa ng work natin inside the business. So, ang unang question dito is that, have you been into situation where so much time are being wasted with unnecessary activities? So, pwede natin i-apply dito yung Lean Six Sigma nung nakaraan kasi nga, di ba may mga situation nga kung saan nauubos yung time natin sa mga bagay na hindi naman din masyadong importante sa kailangan natin gawin. Next is that, or on times that your mind is so jammed up, you do not know which one to do first. So, for example na nga nito sa mga activities natin or like sa mga homeworks natin, na kapag natatambakan na tayo that hindi na natin alam kung ano yung dapat nating unahin. So here is the introduction of the Pareto's principle. Expand your business with 80-20 rule. So makikita natin dito sa illustration yung 80% and the 20%. Kung saan yung 20% doon sa effort is important and then yung 80% is not important. So, yung mga ganong bagay can result to 80% of the effort and the 20% of not important kapag natuto tayong gumamit ng Pareto's principle. So, ano nga ba yung 80-20 rule? So, this is also known as the Pareto principle, kagaya nga na nabanggit ko kanina. So, this states that approximately 80% of effects come from 20% of causes. This means that a small percentage of inputs or efforts are responsible for a disproportionately large percentage of the results. So, yun nga yung pinapakita ng illustration dito sa PowerPoint. So, for example, in business, 80% of your sales might come from 20% of your customers, or 80% of your website traffic might come from 20% of the pages. So, in summary, the 80-20 rule is a helpful tool for identifying and prioritizing the most important factors in any situation. So, kagaya nga naman dito ng sa business. So, ito nga sinabi na it can be applied to many aspects of life, including work, finances, relationships, and personal development. So, later on, malalaman natin kung paano nga ba nagagamit yung Pareto's principle or kung saan nga ba ito pwedeng gamitin. So, next is the introduction of the Pareto chart. So, this one is an introduction lang sa Pareto chart, pero later on, malalaman natin kung paano nga ba siya ginagamit dito or like, paano nga ba siya ginagamit sa isang business. So, makikita natin dito yung Pareto chart. The Pareto chart is a type of bar graph that displays the frequency of occurrence of different categories of events that ranks from highest to lowest. It also includes a line graph representing the cumulative frequency. So this visual representation, it shows the most significant categories and how they contribute to overall problem. So also, this Pareto chart, it helps us to identify the vital few categories that should be addressed first for the greatest impact. So nabanggit natin yung vital few nung nakaraan sa Lean Six Sigma. So next is, it can help us to focus on improvement by understanding the root causes of the most frequent events so we can develop targeted solutions. So, for example, we can imagine a company analyzing customer complaints. So, they could create a Pareto chart showing the types of complaints received, rank from the most frequent to least frequent na complaints. So, this chart would help them prioritize their efforts to address the most common customer issues. So next is the Pareto's principle history. So sabi dito sa PowerPoint, the Pareto's principle is named after Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who in 1906 observed in his country Italy and found out that 80% of its land was owned by only 20% of the people. So, sabi pa, the study extended and found out that the 80-20 thing also transpired in other countries. So, the Pareto principle, often called the 80-20 rule, is named after the Italian economist Wilfredo Pareto. So, na-observe na noong 1906 that 80% of the land in Italy was only owned by 20% of the population. So, further research revealed that this principle, this Pareto principle, which suggests So further research revealed that this principle, which suggests that a small percentage of inputs or efforts are responsible for disproportionately large percentage of the results, also applies to other areas beyond land ownership. It's been found to be relevant in various aspects of society, life in general, specifically in business. So, the 80-20 rule is now widely used as a tool for identifying and prioritizing the most important factors in any situation. It helps to focus efforts on the most impactful areas for greater efficiency and productivity. So, pwede nating sabihin na kagaya ng Lean Six Sigma is gamit na nga rin itong Pareto's principle specifically in the business. Pero, hindi naman siya talaga in business lang. Pwede rin siya magamit sa life mo. Like, yes, ma-explain na natin dito mamaya kung ano nga ba yung, or like, paano nga ba nakakatulong yung Pareto's principle sa ating araw-araw na pamumuhay. So, furthermore, the Pareto's principle now most fully as the 80-20 rule does not imply on land ownership. So, ito na nga, nabanggit na nga kanina na it doesn't focus only on the land ownership. Yun na nga is mas naging gamit na siya sa lahat ng aspects ng ating buhay. So, later, malalaman pa rin natin. So, next is the 80-20 rule is everywhere.
The 80-20 rule in everywhere in business. The first one is 20% of the workers produce 80% of the result. And the second one is 20% of the customer create 80% of the revenue. And the last one is 20% of the product accounts for 80% of the sales. And the second one is the 80-20 rules in everywhere within the society. 20% of criminals commit 80% of crimes. And the second one is 20% of beer drinkers drinks 80% of beer in the world. And the 80% of factories pollution originates from 20% of all factories. And the last one is 20% of students have grades 80% or higher. And the last one is the 80% and 20% rule in everywhere in life in general. And the first one is 20% of an average person's activity is the reason for 80% of his progress. And the last one is 80% of happiness brought about by the friendship actually comes from 20 out of 5 of your friends only. Out. Dito naman sa may sa business, ang sinasabi dito ay sa 20% na workers nakakapag-produce ng 80% na resulta. At hindi siya nagwa 100% kaagad syempre. And then sa may customer naman, sa 20% na customer nakapag-create lamang sila ng revenue na 80%. At yung last one naman ay yung 20% na product accounts sa 80% lang yung nasa sales. Dito naman sa rules in everywhere within the society, yung 20% na mga criminals nakakapag-commit ng 80% ng crimes sa buong mundo. Sa may 20% naman na mga drinker, manginginom, ganon, umiinom sila ng 80% na beer sa buong mundo. Parang nag-average siya, ganon. Tapos 80% naman ng factory pollution ay na-organize sa 20% na lahat ng factories. Sa may 20% naman na student, nagkakaroon ng 80% or higher lang. Sa 20% na student, 80% lang or higher yung nagiging grade sa 20% ng mga estudyante sa society. Sa may last one naman na life sa buhay natin, life in general, yung 20% na average dito sa person activities, the reason is 80% lang ang progress. And sa may last one naman ng 80% ang nagiging happiness natin dahil sa mga kaibigan natin, and actually comes from 20 out of 5 of your friends only. Ayun lang, dun umiikot ang the 8 and 20 rules is everywhere in life. Yun lang.
Pareto's Principle. Pareto's Principle is also known as 80-20 rule. This principle states that 80% of the effect comes from 20% of the causes. It suggests that a small number of factors or inputs can have a significant impact on outcome. The 80-20 rule is not always exact. While 80-20 is a common ratio, the actual distribution can vary. It could be steeper than 90/10 or less steep or 7/30. The sum does not always equal 100. The two parts of the ratio does not always add up to 100%. The focus should be on the vital few. The Pareto principle emphasizes the importance of identifying and focusing on the most significant factors that drive result. Paano nga ba natin na-apply ang Pareto's principle sa isang business? First, pwede siyang may apply sa various aspect of business including sales. Halimbawa sa sales, 80% of sales may come from 20% of customer satisfaction. 80% of customer complaints may come from 20% of customers. Next, inventory management. 80% of inventory value may tied up to 20% of stock items. Project management. 80% of project delays may caused by 20% of task. Resource allocation. 80% of results may come from 20% of resources. By identifying the vital few factors that drive results, businesses can focus their efforts on these areas to achieve greater efficiency and effectiveness.
How can Pareto principle be applied in business? To increase revenue, you could try to increase sales. The more you sell, the more profit you should make. Negotiate better deals with your suppliers. You can make deals that both of you will benefit to increase profits. Cut excess overheads. Companies often retrench staff to do so. Companies reduces the manpower to cut cost measurements or para mabawasan yung pinapasweldo nila. Increase prices. If you can sell the same amount of goods at higher prices, you will make more profits. Sinasabi rito na kahit taasan mo yung presyo ng isang bagay, same amount pa rin yung maibebenta like sa mga big companies. Halimbawa na lang rito yung sa cellphone, kagaya ng Samsung and iPhones. Kahit mahal yung presyo nila, marami pa rin yung bumibili. And so on. Na magpapa-benefit sa paglaki ng kita natin, pero mababa lang yung ginagastos. In short, eliminate waste and improve the process, which is Lean Six Sigma. The question now is, can a company do all these things simultaneously? The answer is no. Bakit? In business, you generally don't have the resources, time, energy, and management focus to do everything at once. In short, di mo kayang gawin yung mga bagay ng sabay-sabay lahat. Secondly, the Pareto principle teaches us that not everything is equally important. What we should do is identify those actions, the vital few, that will result in the biggest increase in profits, then focus first on it. Kailangan natin mag-focus kung alin ba talaga yung pinaka-priority para maging mas malaki yung kita natin sa kumpanya. Not using 80-20 wisely. may cause the business to prioritize the least important, which is definitely do not constitute a leap forward. Kapag binaliwala lang natin yung order ng pagiging priority ng isang bagay sa may business, ito yung magpapabagsak sa kita ng business natin.
So guys, I will be discussing the Pareto's chart. So as we can see, these are the graph of Pareto's chart. This chart are the reason of the customer complaints. So makikita natin yung Pareto's chart sa ating presentation. So ito yung graph na nagpapakita ng mga iba't ibang reklamo ng mga customer. So i-discuss ko on how to generate Pareto's chart using Excel. Pero guys, hindi ko na siya ipapakita na ginagawa ko siya sa Excel. So i-discuss ko na lang siya. So as we can see, the data are the number of product sales. So ito yon yung nasa ating presentation. May kita natin dyan yung number of product sales. So meron tayo dyang mattress, double bed, large planter, rug, floor mat, executive desk, office chair, hammock, gas grill, small planter, and others. So yun yung makikita natin sa ating chart. So dito makikita natin yung iba't ibang mga sales ng ating mga produkto. When generating Pareto's chart, we need to sort it out in chronological order. So syempre i-arrange natin siya from highest to lowest. So ito yun. For example, yung ating mattresses. Meron siyang 700,000 to lowest na 100,000. So yun. Para makuha natin yung tinatawag natin na CF o CF means cumulative frequency. So pag sinabi nating CF, ito yung we need to add the number of product sales para makuha natin yung ating cumulative frequency sale. So kapag kukunin naman na natin ang ating percentage ng ating number of product sales, ay kailangan nating gumamit ng formula using Excel. And then we divided individual number of product sales to the total number of product sales. For example, yung 100,000 divide to number of total sales sa lahat ng kabuuan ng 100,000, 200,000, and so on. Lahat ng total nun ipag-add natin para makuha natin yung CF. So, after that, ang kukunin naman natin is yung CP, means cumulative percent na makikita natin dito sa ating Pareto's chart, yung percentage kung paano siya makuha. So, ganun lang din siya sa pagkuha ng CF. Same lang sila ng pagkuha. So, by knowing this, we can focus kung ano ang mas pwede natin i-improve na product, or we can say na kung ano dapat muna ang dapat nating unahin o improve na product. So by using the Pareto's charts, this can help us na kung saan tayo makakapag-focus na product, at nagbibigay din ito sa atin ng idea kung ano ang dapat nating unahin o mas bigyan ng focus para ma-improve tong product na to. So makikita natin dyan sa ating presentation yung tinatawag nating cumulative percent, which is ito yan, yung 53.2%, 68.7%, and so on. So, yun yung tinatawag nating cumulative percent.
The next one is, how can Pareto principle be applied in our personal lives? First, we have maximize personal productivity, or yung identify the 20% of tasks or activities that bring you 80% of your desired outcomes or satisfactions, meaning it's about time management and goals and priorities. So, for example, if a certain habits like morning exercise or focus work blocks drive most of your productivity, prioritize them over less impactful activities like excessive social media scrolling. So, yun nga, it's all about time management and goals and priorities. The next one is improve relationships. In application, Focus on the 20% of relationships that brings you 80% of your happiness and fulfillment. It's about yung ginagawa mo, kung ano yung nagpapasaya sa'yo. So, for example, spend more quality time with close friends and family rather than trying to maintain casual acquaintanceship. So, kung titignan mo mas mabuti, mas maganda talaga na mag-spend ka ng mas maraming time sa iyong mga friends and family. Next one is balance work and life. In application, identify the 20% of work or life activities that give you 80% of your stress and work on reducing their impact. For example, if unnecessary meetings or tasks at work because most of your stress, like delegating or saying no to essential activities to reclaim personal time. So, it's about parang time management pa rin. Yung tinitignan mo yung tamang ways na pag-spend mo ng mga oras mo kung may mga kabuluhan ba naman. So, by concerning on the most impactful areas, you can enhance your efficiency and satisfaction in various aspects of life. According to Sir Richard Branson, a big business starts small. So, meaning, wala talagang nagsisimula sa mataas. Lahat sila is mostly start lang sa pinakamababa hanggang sa tumaas ng tumaas.